Excited to be here. Um, Kind of it's hot. I'm in Mississippi and Michael's in DC and it's hot where I am, so I'm very envious of Wisconsin. I bet you got your fall sweaters out. Um, and we're here to talk about how to read multisyllable words easily without a whole bunch of rigmarole going on. And what we're going to do, Michael and I both, just as a little background, specialize in helping struggling readers. That's what we've done together for about 30 years, and what we'll probably be doing for at least the foreseeable future, right, Mike?
Yep.
So, okay. So just to let you know what our objectives are, and this is really important, this first part is that first, reading multisyllable words is not going to happen reading them accurately unless the kids can read single syllables words accurately. And that we're going to talk about syllable types, but we don't really teach syllable types for multisyllable words, but we are aware of them when we're choosing the words that we teach. And I think even more importantly, that people don't understand is that in order to read multisyllable words, we have to be able to hear the syllables, recognize the syllables, name the syllables, and understand what a syllable is. And so we're going to talk a lot about those two things. And then we're going to get into new techniques to help students that will make it easier, we hope, for you to be able to teach your students how to read multisyllable words. Michael.
And we will also talk about spelling multisyllable words at the end.
Oh, we will. We
Okay.
have a fun video on that.
All right. But before we get started on all that, we need to have a brave volunteer help us out. We want to demonstrate how a typical good reader reads an unfamiliar word. So
Deb
could we,
Dagrowski. Hello.
I know, Deb, have you done this before?
I don't honestly remember. Maybe.
Okay, well, I think, shall we have Deb do it, Linda?
Yeah.
Okay, so Deb, I'm
Okay.
going to put a word up on the slide, and I want you to just read it out loud as quickly as you can. Okay? So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
No thinking, Deb. Read.
Yep, just
Just
read it
read.
as
Okay.
soon as you can,
Okay.
quickly as you can.
Encyclopedia.
Great. Now I'm going to do the same thing with another long word, and I want you to read it just as easily and as quickly. Okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sesquipedalian.
Wow. Okay.
Did you
Do
know
you know?
that word?
Yeah, kind of. I did.
Uh,
Yeah.
I was afraid that you might have seen it before.
Yeah.
We were
I can
hoping.
slow it down.
No.
Slow it down.
Like one of my kids
Yeah.
would do.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
like your kids.
Sesquipedalian.
Okay.
Probably
Yeah.
what my little boy would do.
Exactly. And that's what we were hoping to see is that
Sorry.
encyclopedia, you read it right off. You've seen it plenty of times. Now, we do know that your eyes process all the letters in the word and make sure that it's not encyclopedic or some other word. You read the word encyclopedia. But when you come to an unfamiliar word like sesquipedalian, a typical good reader will slow down. The other thing is, Deb, I do want to ask you a question. So if you can pop back on for a second.
Yep.
Did you do any thinking about syllable types, vowel, consonant, vowel, anything like that when you were when you were reading the
No.
word, either word?
No.
No, you weren't thinking of
No.
rules. You weren't thinking of where to divide it up. You
No.
were just, doing the best you can to read the words. If you had not seen sesquipedalian before, you probably would have read it a little bit slower. You might have
Mm-hmm.
flexed your syllables a little bit, but you didn't sit there and pre-divide it and carefully think your way through it.
No.
And that's what we hope to show in this demonstration. Linda, do you want to add anything to that before we talk about sesquipedalian?
No, I just bet you guys are wondering what the heck is this? What the heck is sesquippedalian?
And that's what we're going to do. So we like to use our morphology. Mary was talking about morphology before we got started tonight. So we have a Latin root in there, ped, everyone can recognize. And I'm sure you can think of words like pedestal and pedestrian and things like that and recognize foot. And in this case, it's foot, literally the measurement of foot, which we call a foot because at one time the measurement of a foot was how long the king's foot was. And that's how it got to be called foot. So we're thinking about it, something that's a foot in length. Sesqui is a very strange prefix, and you might have heard it in sesquicentennial. That's about the only word I can think of that I know that has that. And it means half again as much. So if we've got a foot and half again as much, we're talking about something that's 18 inches long. And then we get our suffixes on there. They're actually combined there too. The alien part. And if we think of the Ian part, we can think of that Indians and Martians. And Ian tells us that it's a person who does something, or someone, that a living being at least. And so we've got somebody that does something with something that's 18 inches long. And that leads us to the definition of a sesquipedalian is a person who uses long words, those foot and a half long words, when they could use just a regular short word. So a sesquipedalian would use the word sesquipedalian. And I bet all of you as teachers know somebody that's a sesquipedalian. I have been accused on occasion of being sesquipedalian when I get my vocabulary showing off. And if there's anybody old enough to remember William F. Buckley Jr., he literally in his obit there on the front of the New York Times, they called him a sesquipedalian because he indeed was a classic sesquipedalian. Okay, so Linda, tell us about what we
Yeah.
see being taught, and just let me know when to click.
Okay, so you can click. So what we find is that when we go into classrooms, and even when I was an English teacher, I taught these things, and that is that you break two syllables between the consonants. We teach that when two consonants are together, you break between the consonants. We teach that when two consonants are the same, you break between them. And we also teach that you keep blends together and you keep digraphs together. So we have, you know, a word gastral. Well, is it gastral or is it gastrol? Well, I think we would all agree, since we know how to say it, gastral. But if you don't know the word, you don't know where to break it. And besides, that looks like a three sound blend, and we know you don't keep the three sounds, not gastral. And what we see is, I want you to just notice that we've underlined the word consonant here. Because most of the time when we teach rules about syllables, we teach rules about look for the consonants, and you're going to break them between the consonants. So turn the page. Yeah. So we also will teach syllable types. So we will teach that you, for example, I'm just going to use the word inhabit, that you teach in, and that's a closed syllable with short vowel, have, a closed syllable with short vowel, and it, a closed syllable with short vowel. However, I could, if I didn't know how to pronounce this word, break it into inhabit, which would be inhabit. And if I'd never heard the word inhabit, I wouldn't know whether inhabit is right or not. So we often spend a lot of time. What kind of syllable is it? What kind of syllable type is it? What let's mark it. Let's put the macron or the brev up there, and then circle the R controlled vowel. And that seems to be difficult for a lot of our struggling readers. And I think the reason that it's difficult, just to let you know, is by the time they've marked all these things, they've almost forgotten what they're trying to do, which is read the word. So here's another thing that we teach, and we teach CVC, so that you look for a vowel, consonant, vowel pattern. And if you find that, such as in silent, then you break between the vowel and the consonant. But if breaking between the vowel and the consonant doesn't get you a word, then you try again and you break between the consonant and the vowel. So instead of Robin, it would be Robin. Instead of vanish, it would be vanish. Instead of um, exact, I don't know how you do that one, then it's so what it is, it's a real trial and error, but it's always preceded by let's mark something. Let's mark the vowels and the consonants, let's mark the syllable types, and then if that doesn't work, let's try something else. So next slide. And I want to show you that this came from a reputable Orton Gillingham program, and I call it the VCCVVVC chart. Children actually learn how to mark words so that napkin is a VCCV with the accent on the first syllable, napkin. But inject is a CVCV with the accent on the second syllable. Now, I want to tell you that my business partner, Michael, is a little this accent, yeah. Accent sometimes hard for you. Is that right, Michael?
I have trouble finding the stress.
Yeah.
I've learned a way to do it, but when I first came to this,
Now,
I couldn't find the stress in words.
teaching children how to accent something is just very difficult. And this stuff just goes way overboard. I just want to show you how we go overboard on this marking stuff. Next slide.
And just one second, though, if I
Yes.
can, I just want to jump in, Linda. I also remember we're talking about, we like to work with the struggling readers who are challenged already in learning and absorbing language and lots of things. And just think about, we're asking them to memorize and process this chart just to read words. And maybe we're not, that may not be the best way to do it. So
what do we recommend?
What we recommend, yes. Before I tell you what we recommend, I'm going to let you watch Xavier, who's a third grader, working with Linda, and he's going to be a guide for us. Now, before you actually start teaching the students to use the techniques we're going to do tonight, we need to make sure they're ready for it. Linda already mentioned that in the objectives, that students need to be able to read the single syllable words accurately, and there are a couple other things they need to do. So in this first video we're going to show you tonight, you're going to see Linda working with Xavier, and she's going to check and make sure that Xavier, she's never worked with him before, make sure that he is ready to learn the process that we're going to share tonight. And the slide there shows you where you can find the full video on the Reading Rockets website, and that'll be in the handouts too, that I hope that Reading League will be able to share with you. Oops, come back. Sorry, technical glitch there.
Reading expert Linda Farrell is working with Xavier, a third grader at Windy Hill Elementary in Calvert County, Maryland. She'll be helping him learn how to read multisyllable words.
I'm going to have you read some nonsense words. They all have short vowels. So could you just read these 3 nonsense words?
Nad, nath, neth.
Good. All right. What are these 3?
Zib, zid, zash.
This is pretty easy, isn't it? Yeah. This is too easy. We're done with that one.
Miss Farrell now knows Xavier can read one-syllable words with short vowels. Next, she checks to make sure he knows what a syllable is, because breaking long words into syllables is the key to the strategy she'll be teaching him.
And I just remembered something. I have to make sure you know what a syllable is. Okay, so look at me. My name is Linda. It has 2 syllables in it. Linda. Linda. Okay, so what's your name?
Xavier.
How many syllables in your name?
4.
Okay, let's stomp them.
X, Xavier. Xavier.
You got it. How many syllables in computer?
Computer. 3.
Yes, you've got it. So you know what a syllable is. All right, because that's really important if we're going to read these big words. So if I look at this word and I want to know how to read that, the first thing I have to do is figure out how many syllables are in it. And I can do that by figuring out what the vowels are. Do you know what the vowel letters are?
A, E, I, O, U.
You got it. Those are the vowel letters.
Okay, so Linda was checking there to make sure that Xavier knew what a syllable was, could hear them in spoken words, he could segment and blend the syllables back together again. So if they can't do that, they're not ready for multisyllable word. They also need to know what the vowel letters are, because we're going to shift the focus in a moment. You'll see we're going to shift the focus away from looking for consonants to looking for the vowels, because that's what every syllable has, is a vowel sound, and almost every syllable is going to have a vowel spelling, and that's how you're going to chunk your syllables. So the students need to automatically and easily recognize that A, E, I, O, U are the vowel letters and be able to spot them easily in words. And then critically, students need to be accurate with reading single syllable words in whatever spelling patterns, syllable type patterns that you're asking them to read in the multisyllable words. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Well, we can talk about it right now. When we teach multisyllable, the way we like to approach it is we make sure that our students have the prerequisites that we just talked about, and that they can easily read real and nonsense CVC words automatically. Just read them the way you heard Xavier read them. He had no trouble reading those words. When the students can do that, we can start teaching them to read CVC, short vowel pattern, multisyllable words, as long as they don't have the schwa in it yet. Once we teach them about schwa, which I'm going to talk to you about in a little bit, then they can also read words with short vowel words with schwa. Then what we do is we introduce, I've gotten ahead of myself, sorry here. We introduce the next spelling pattern in single syllable words, and then we can bring that into the multisyllable once the students can accurately read the single syllables with the new vowel spelling or syllable type. Often we hear people complain, sometimes parents will say, why are you teaching my children to read nonsense words? We want them to read real words.
Shoot, Michael.
Well,
Teachers complain about that.
I know that teachers do, but I was putting it on the parents
Not
or the
these
teachers to know. The reason, there are two reasons. One is we do need them. It's if they can do it automatically, then we know that they can read their CVC words, and it can be used for assessment. But the real reason is that when you read an unfamiliar multisyllable word like sesquipedalian or admonish, some of the syllables in the word that you're going to need to read as a syllable are nonsense words. They're not real words. So in admonish, that can be a real word, but mon and ish by themselves are simply nonsense CVC spelling patterns. So if students can't automatically read nonsense, then they're going to struggle reading the multisyllable words. So there's the short answer to why we need to be able to read nonsense words, because any unfamiliar word is a nonsense word until we've read it. And any syllable that we haven't read before is going to be nonsense until we read it. So back to the scope and sequence, and the way in which we like to teach the multisyllable and we find it easiest is once students have their short vowel pattern in single syllable words and can easily read that, then we can start teaching that in multisyllable words. So even a kindergartner could read, who can read bat and man, can learn to read Batman, bath and tub, bathtub, etc. In our scope and sequence, we like to do R controlled next, but that's not critical. We just like it because it's fairly simple. It looks like a CVC pattern. It's just the R changes the vowel sound. And we can get a lot more multisyllable words in quickly that way. Then typically long vowels will come next, that open syllable. And then the silent E pattern, And we like to leave the silent E pattern a bit later if we have control over the scope and sequence, because it's two letters not next to each other that tell us what the vowel sound is. And that's more complicated than two letters next to each other. And then lastly, the vowel teams, and then other advanced vowel spellings. This is not a mandatory scope and sequence. This is just the way we like to do it. But the point here is that before students can read our controlled vowels in multisyllable words, they need to be able to read single syllable words with the R control pattern easily. And the same for each pattern. So here's what we teach our students to do is, instead of looking for consonants, look for the vowels first. And so what our students need to know to start reading multisyllable words is, of course, as we said, the vowel letters. They need to recognize that every spoken syllable has a vowel sound, and therefore almost every written syllable will have one or more letters that spell the vowel sound. That A, E, I, O, U are vowels. Y is always a vowel at the end of a word. And that U, when it's right after the letter Q, is not counted as a vowel letter. And you'll need to remind some of your students of that by the time they start to get to the multisyllable, because they'll have got QU from their early phonics, but then they'll sort of forget it. So you just remind them that U after Q doesn't count as a syllable, as a vowel letter. So using the vowels, what we do is we teach our students 4 questions when approaching an unfamiliar long word. Start with, how many vowel letters in the word? Are they together or apart? Because typically, if the vowel letters are next to each other, in most words, that will be a vowel team, and it will spell one sound. Then is there a silent E at the end of the word? Because we know that that E by itself is not going to spell a sound. It's going to work with the vowel before the consonant to spell the vowel sound. And that sets us up for how many syllables does the word look like it has. And that's how you're going to think about dividing into the chunks that become your syllables. You're not going to need a bunch of rules. You're going to start with the vowels. You're going to count the vowels. You're going to talk about whether there's a silent E or not. And then that sets you up for how many syllables. So Linda is going to show you how this works with short vowel words.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about how we teach short vowel words. And interestingly, Michael and I don't often take on students, but we are going to start working with a student in New Zealand who is having trouble with multisyllable words. And this is where we're going to start with her two Thursdays from now.
I'm so excited.
It is. We love working with kids. Okay, so remember, right now, because we're just working with closed syllables, which is a closed syllable has one vowel, and the vowel is not at
one
the
vowel,
end.
not at the end.
Yeah, and so we're not going to ask, do you see a silent E at the end? Because that isn't going to be important.
And we're not going to use
we-
words with silent E.
And we actually teach children in kindergarten. I occasionally go in and teach strong readers in kindergarten. As soon as they can read bat and man, I'm teaching them to read Batman so that they're not afraid of big words, and they can do that. So this will equally happen with strong readers in kindergarten, struggling, even regular readers in the upper grades. So next slide, please.
Now, Linda and Michael, before you move on, we have a quick question in the chat.
Okay.
Sure.
So it says, I'm curious if Readsters teaches rules during the one syllable stage.
We could talk about that in another time. I'm not going to tell you. We are not rule teachers. We are pattern teachers. We teach patterns, not rules. And if anytime we can tell a story, we will tell a story to help the student learn it. But we just find that rules get in the way of our struggling readers who have working memory issues, who have language issues, etc. So we teach patterns.
Yeah,
Michael,
we
you want to
teach
add to
patterns,
that?
and then we practice recognition of those patterns. It's practice,
Mhm.
practice, practice. It's not memorize the rule. It's read, read, read. until that pattern is just ingrained in long-term memory.
Anything else? No?
That's
Okay.
it. Okay.
So is this the slide we're on right now?
Yes,
Okay.
typical
Okay.
rules do not apply.
Now, when I teach in front of teachers who are Orton Gillingham teachers, sometimes they want to scream at me. That is not how you break a word. And you will see Xavier that I sort of demonstrate this when you see another video of Xavier. And I got more comments on that's not how you would break the word. Well, the word admonish could be broken admonish. It could be broken admonish. If you're Orton Gillingham, that's what you would do. Go to number 3, and we will see that adm, because we don't have a DM blend in English, that won't work. So when I'm having kids break words, I need them to break it where it looks right. I don't care whether it's admonish, whether it's admonish or admonish, because I'm not going to say, is that a closed syllable or an open syllable? Because the kid doesn't know this word. So he doesn't know whether it's a closed or open syllable. If he breaks it this way and says admonish, I say, you got the first syllable right, you got the last syllable right. Flex this to a short O. And he's going to flex it to a short O, and he's going to say, oh, admonish. Then if he knows the word, he'll go, oh, admonish. Oh, admonish. They always say, oh, admonish. If he doesn't know the word, he'll say admonish. And I'll say, that's it, admonish. Everybody look at the word and read admonish. So I'm not, this is the big key. It's not what kind of syllable type is it. It's not CDC. It's flex the vowel sound. That's what it is. So let's keep going.
Linda, I'm sorry, but can I jump in one thing?
Of course.
In my experience, if you have taught the single syllable pattern and students have recognized the pattern in single syllable words and have read enough and can read it easily enough, it's rare that they do strange syllable breaking when they count the vowels, because they break it the pattern that they've become familiar with. They're not going to do odd patterns or break it oddly if they're well trained in the patterns that they're going to be reading. And that's why we don't have to teach rules. They just go,
yeah,
oh.
it's just a case. And if somebody does do a DM, I say, oh, in English, we don't have a DM. Could you please move that M over by the O? And
Yes.
so I'm showing, and they hear that, oh, we don't have any patterns. Okay. So we're really teaching them by exposure. Okay, next one. Now, you might teach still, and I teach this in some school districts. In fact, I've sort of started teaching it in all, because it's often, this rule is often on state tests. Where would you break the word? Well, I'm going to break it between 2 syllables, but I
Two
have
consonants.
2 consonants if they're the same. But here's the thing. If I get a really, really low student in word recognition and they listen to everything I'll say, they'll go, that's rab-a-ba-bit. And I'll say, oh, and we only pronounce the B once. So, but usually they get that you only pronounce the B or the N or the D. But I might have to tell them that. Okay, keep going. We keep digraphs together. That's another thing that we do teach a rule. And I know that's about consonants, but it's most of the time. Like we have accomplishment graphic. It's not graphic. But shepherd doesn't, we don't keep it together. So here's the deal, you guys. I'm not going to give them the word shepherd to read. That's not going to come in when I'm teaching them to keep digraphs together. First, I teach them how to read the words that follow the patterns. Then later we'll go maybe if they still need to. Okay. I've already talked about this. And Michael, next one. So if the student writes, oh, go back. Can you go back? One slide. Can you go back one slide?
I just did.
Oh, thank you. Okay. If the student writes admonish, remember, we've taught them every syllable has a vowel. So I say, how many vowels do you see? They say 3. Oh, 3 syllables. So I don't even say break that into 3 syllables. I'm always trying to lead them to look and be critical of what they did. Oh, yeah, I need to break that into 2 syllables instead of 1. Sometimes they might go add and then MONISH. And again, I say, how many syllables do you see? I mean, how many vowels do you see? 3. Is each vowel in its own syllable? Oh, no, I have to move it. So just to let you know, there are times you will see something like this. Now let's move to the next one. So this is how the pattern works. Let's see the words established. And we've had a vocabulary word that's esteem. And so the student looks at that word and sees
Whoops, sorry.
Am I here?
You're there.
Okay, we have a vocabulary word that says esteem, and my guesser student who doesn't take the time or know how to look at multisyllable words goes esteem. And I say, you got the first syllable right. How many vowels do you see? And then they hold up their finger to show me. 3. Are they together or apart? They go, if they're together, I have them go like this. If they're apart, like this. Now they're always going to be apart for closed syllables. So they're apart. How many syllables? Well, if you have 3 vowels, 3 vowel letters, and they're apart, you can have 3 syllables. Then I have the student draw 3 lines, horizontal lines on the whiteboard or paper or whatever we're using, and I have them break it into syllables. So the students write 1 syllable, 2 syllable, 3 syllable. Then, like it's, I've told you how we correct the syllables. And then I say, now, for a student who gets this easily, I will say, read these in order. Establish. Oh, establish. That's what they get if the word's in their vocabulary. Sometimes they go establishment. They're clearly not reading. They're getting a couple of syllables and then they're guessing. So I say, read the last syllable, read the middle syllable, and read the first syllable. So they go lish, tab, s. And then I will say, read the last 2 syllables, tablish. Then I'll say, let's put the first one on, establish. If they know the word, they'll go, oh, establish. And if they don't, they'll go establish, establish. And then I say, the word is establish. And I say, everybody say establish. And I might give them real quickly a definition. This is not a vocabulary lesson. This is a how do you read the word lesson. Let's go to the next one. Next slide. Okay. Those are the starting point. We had to put this in because we would get so many questions on when do you stop doing this? Well, you certainly, if you're working in 3rd grade, don't do it through high school, that's for sure. What you do is you stop as soon as they're able to get it right doing this. Then you say, would you like to try it without doing the marking up the word? And then they just read it all the time until they miss a word. And then you say, oh, you got the first or middle or last syllable right. Usually it's the first syllable. And then you say, oh, you got the first syllable right. How many vowels do you see? And then you start asking the question. They often will say, oh, wait, the word's admonish. And I say, no, check. I want them to go through every single step if they guessed, because I want to make it harder for them to get it wrong than to get it right the first time. So there's none of this easy stuff. We check the whole thing, and every time they miss it. Okay, let's keep going. Now, inhabit. Okay, so you guys, I've got the word. I don't read the word to them. They've read this word. Next. Can you click?
I did.
Now, this word is inhabit, and the kid reads
Okay,
inhibit.
Linda, don't say inhabit. Just say, we're going to read this word.
We're going to read this word, and the student reads inhibit. Okay, so I say, I say you got the first syllable and last syllable right. How many vowel letters do you see? Everybody hold up your fingers and show me. Are they together or apart? Okay. How many syllables will be in this word? Show me with your fingers. 2 syllables. Then I'd say draw the lines. Then I would say, oh, yeah, write the syllables. They can write inhabit or they can write inhabit. I don't care because whatever they read, if they don't get the vowel sound right, I'm going to say flex it. Can you go to number 6?
This is
Syllable.
the read out of order that you did with admonish. Then
Yes.
you only need to do that for those kids that can't
Really
easily blend it
struggle. Yeah.
or make
And
a
then
big
number
guess.
7, read each syllable in order. And number 8 should be read the word. Let's go to the next one. Oh, I
And
think
now
this
you
is
get to see Xavier do it.
Xavier. I loved Xavier.
Every syllable has a vowel in it. So in order to figure out how many syllables there are, I have to count the vowels. So can you tell me how many vowel letters do you see in that word?
2.
Yep. Are they together or apart?
Apart.
They are apart. If I have 2 vowels letters and they're apart, I'm going to have 2 syllables. So I'm going to draw 2 lines right here. And I have to have a vowel letter in every syllable. So can you break that word into 2 syllables for me? Yeah. Now this is a nonsense word, so we're going to read it. What's the first syllable?
Jod. Pum.
What's the word?
Jod pum.
So read it again.
Jod pum.
And the word is?
Jod pum.
That's a nonsense word. I just made it up. I literally just made that word up right now. I've never even seen that word before. But we now know what to do if we have a word that we don't know. So let's try another word.
Volcano.
Oh, you got the first 2 syllables. You got the first syllable right. How many vowels do you see?
3.
Together or apart?
Apart.
Okay. Okay, read each syllable.
Volcano.
What's that middle syllable?
Can. Ick.
Touch each syllable and read it.
Vol. Can. Ick.
Wait, what's that?
Ick.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Volcanic. Volcanic.
You just read volcanic. So what are the syllables in volcanic?
Oh.
Those are the vowels. What's the first syllable?
Volcanic.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm erasing this. Okay, so say volcanic.
Volcanic.
How many syllables in volcanic?
3.
Okay, I would like you to please see if you can spell each syllable in volcanic. So draw 3 lines right up here. Do you think you can spell volcanic? What's the first syllable? What's that syllable? What'd you just spell?
Vol.
Okay, next one. Now write the whole word. Oh my gosh, you just spelled volcanic. You couldn't even read it, and now you can spell it. That is pretty good. You want me to see if I can get a really hard one for you? How many vowels did you see?
3.
Okay, could you underline them, please?
Me 4.
Okay, 4 vowels. Are they together or apart?
Apart.
So, how many syllables?
4.
Okay. Could you move that N over there? And Okay? So read each syllable.
Con, tick,
What's that?
tit, tin,
What's this?
tit,
What is it?
tit,
Okay, so it's
continental, continental.
you just read continental. Are you ready for another one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Let's try this one. How many vowels do you see?
O, A, I, E.
Okay, so how many? You can underline them if you want. Oh, why don't you start here and go this way? Yeah. Okay, so how many?
4.
Together, apart.
Apart.
Okay. Do you want to try to read it without breaking it into syllables? Try it.
Accomplishment.
What was the word?
Accomplishment.
It's accomplishment. You are right. We're going to do one more that is
Electric. Cool. Electrical.
You got it. That was a good one to end on. High five. Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
you guys, oh, okay, you're going to
No.
do schwa.
Go ahead.
No,
What
that's
were you gonna
good.
say?
That's good. Keep
Okay.
going. No.
I was just going to say real quickly that Linda gave you a little quick preview of spelling in the middle there also, not just reading words. And you will come back to that. Okay, schwa, you guys, do you guys teach schwa? You need to teach schwa. Students need to be able to recognize the schwa sound because the schwa sound can be spelled with any vowel spelling. So for it's easier for reading because once kids know that there is this indefinable sound, this lazy vowel sound, you can teach them if they read a fully voiced vowel, whether it's long, short, just flex it to a schwa. And if the word's in their vocabulary, so they read gallon, gallon, flex that second syllable to a schwa, gallon, oh, gallon. That's all you have to do. But they need to know about the schwa to be able to do that. You have to teach this pretty quickly because there are not a whole lot of even short vowel words that don't have a schwa in them. So you have to do this. So here's how we teach it. I'm going to do a quick lesson for you guys. And so everybody, there's a vowel sound called the schwa. Everybody say schwa. Okay. This is the symbol we use to represent the schwa. It looks like an upside down backwards E, but the schwa sound is a lazy vowel sound. It's just sort of like a short U, but it just doesn't have any energy, and it sounds like this. It's not it's just Everybody tell me the schwa sound. Okay, so now we are going to listen for that sound in some words. And I know you guys know how to read this word, but I want you to pretend for a minute like you just are beginning to learn how to read English and you're not sure, but you know some things. And you're going to look at this word and you're going to figure out how many syllables, and you're going to read it syllable by syllable, the way that it's spelled and the way that it looks. And I would read it this way. I would read wag on, wag on. But you guys know that's not how we actually pronounce this word. We pronounce this word wagon. Which vowel letter doesn't sound like the way it should? And that's the O. And that's our buddy, the schwa, that lazy sound. So it's not wag on, it's wagon. Let's do another one. Let's do this one together. So again, I know you guys know how to read this word, but let's pretend that we're reading it for the first time, and we would read sandal, sandal. Well, that's not right. How do we actually say this word? Sandal. That's right. So can you guys find the schwa? Is it the first A or the second A that's not spelling the sound that it's supposed to? And you guys got it. It's that second A. That's our buddy, the schwa. So that was an I do and a we do. Here's some more schwas just to remind you that all the different vowel letters can spell schwa sounds, and also the different vowel spellings can spell schwa sounds. You may notice that your students, when spelling unfamiliar words, will spell the schwa with a U. And now you know why, because it sounds, most of the time, the schwa sounds like that short U, but a lazy short U. The we do to the lesson, we have individual students take turns reading the word the way that it looks. So sig now, then read it the way it should be, signal. And then everybody circle the schwa letter, the letter that spells the schwa sound. And then we have the student tell us which letter they circled. And then we let them know if we agree or disagree. If everybody agrees, it's probably right. And then we go. That was quick, but I just wanted to show you the lesson that it's not that hard to teach students to recognize the schwa sound in spoken words. We have a packet that has a fully scripted lesson plus that practice sheet. If you're interested in it, michael@readsters.com, just email me and I'll send it to you. Happy to do that. So that's michael@readsters.com. Ask for the schwa packet and I'll get it out to you. Once students are tuned into the schwa sound, oh, this is where you were going to do these. I forget.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Sorry. I was just running away with it.
Go.
No, go ahead. I thought you were doing it.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to show you, once you've got multisyllable, once you've got closed syllables and schwa, there are so many sophisticated words you could read. These are math content words. Keep going. These are social studies content words. Keep going. These are geography words. Keep going. And these are science words. And when I put this together, see this word meniscus in the last column, second to last word, meniscus? I didn't even know what it meant, but I could pronounce it because I went, meniscus? No, that doesn't sound right. Meniscus. Boy, I better look that one up. And that's when I learned what it was. So I can even figure out some of these that I didn't know what they meant. Okay, let's keep going. And now, this, if you have an unfamiliar word, I've already told you this, you just tell them to flex the vowel sound. So if the word is P-E-T-I-T-I-O-N and they read petition, because it could be petition, I say, you decoded that correctly. Let's make it a real word. Let's flex the E to a schwa. And they say, petition. Oh, petition. If they know it, and if they don't, I say, yes, you got it. Petition. The word is petition, and then that's how we pronounce it. Everybody pronounce it, and then maybe a little vocabulary, what it is. Keep going. And that is flexing. If a student says come on, they decoded it correctly. It could be come on, but I could say flex the second O to a schwa, and they go common. Oh, common. Most kids will know that word, common. If avoid doesn't work, I say avoid. Got the last syllable right. This, you decoded the whole thing correctly. Flex the first vowel to a schwa, avoid. There you go, avoid. Next page. And
Okay.
you want to do this one, Michael? Go.
Are you doing this?
Go.
I've forgotten.
You could do it.
Can I just
No,
Yeah,
interrupt?
you're
a
doing
minute?
it. Go.
Yes.
Can I
No.
just interrupt you for a minute since we've been
Yes.
talking about schwa? We have a question.
Okay.
And this is a question that always comes up in my experience. It's one thing to read words that have schwa vowels. How do you teach how to spell words
Well,
with schwas?
if the word is in a spelling test, then I say, okay, this word is common. Break it into syllables, common. Which vowel is the schwa? And we draw a little heart over that vowel because that is how, that is the word, the letter you have to learn by heart. You just can't hear it. If they're writing and they don't, it's not a spelling test and they haven't encountered the word, if I ideally they would say, oh, that's a schwa. That word doesn't look right. I better look it up. If not, they give it to me. I put a little, what I do is, let's say they're fourth graders and they're doing they're doing an essay. And I put an A on the essay. I will record this as soon as you look up these words and figure out, and I might even circle the schwa and say, figure out that's a schwa sound, figure out how do you spell it. I mean, you just have to lead them to it. And if anybody has any better answers, please give them.
Just
I
remember,
was-
everybody has to memorize the spelling for a schwa. We all had to memorize that wagon, it's an O. It's just, it's a memory thing.
A couple things that I found helpful for students when I was teaching spelling words with schwa. If you just hear a schwa sound in the first syllable by itself or in the last syllable by itself, it's usually an A, like a long.
Likely to be an A. You
along
can
or
teach them
aura.
that. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the other thing is if you hear a word, like say you're giving them the word compose to spell, and there's a schwa in the first syllable, you can ask them, do you know another form of that word? Because sometimes when we say a different form, we'll hear the vowel
Composition,
clearly.
yeah.
So you go composition, oh, com, that's an O. So then you know that because composition and compose are just
Yeah.
two different versions of the same word, you know what vowel to use. So, it's tricky, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
there
less
are-
here to talk about spelling, but I also will say when you introduce morphological patterns, then you can say, look, this is convince and this is concrete. This is a um, prefix to a Latin word. I don't know what concrete is, but what I'm
Mhm.
saying is you can teach them. That's way advanced for multisyllable. That's that's when you
Also,
would go ahead.
I think you need to make a clarification too, that are they just trying to spell the word on the fly, like Linda said, or is it a spelling test word? If you're trying to teach them to spell it, then you're going to show them the word first. And we're going to get to this quickly, I hope, but they have to see it. And then they learn to memorize, oh, so they get a visual of it right off the bat. They don't ever misspell it because you're teaching. This is how you spell this word. This is how you're going to practice it. And this is what you're going to remember is this, that the schwa is spelled with whatever letters. That's different than how do I spell this word? And it's a big thing that gets missed in teaching spelling is you have to, once you get past the short vowels, you've got schwa, you have to have spelling lists and students have to study if they're expected to spell the words. Okay, Linda, you're going to do silent E.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm going to go through this real quickly because you guys are going to want to meet Jesse. All right. You add the new question when you get to silent E. So now it is, how many vowels do you see? Are they together or apart? Do you see silent E? Well, they've already learned the one syllable silent E pattern. So they know that the silent E goes at the end. And then how many syllables? So next slide. This is complicate. So you would just see how many vowel letters together apart. Do you see a silent E? And then they would show a thumb up. And that would be, so then I would say, how many syllables? Well, they know 3 syllables because that E goes with the other one. Draw lines, write syllables, read each syllable. Keep going. Now, this is something a lot of people don't teach. They do teach that the end of a word, that the spelling, multisyllable word spells a long vowel sound. That's taught, replace, subscribe. But they don't teach that at the end of a word, the vowel consonant E might spell a schwa, as in palace, lettuce, terrace, service, justice. So I get children who read just ice. And then I realize, oh, they're just looking at the word, and I'll say flex that to a schwa, but then I need to give them that ICE to a schwa. But then I need to give them a lesson to show them that there are many words, and I could even show them patterns for this. Go to the next one. Now we've got literate. So you can see how many, it's not literate, it's literate. And you can just keep going through. And that would be where if they read the last syllable and they read literate, I say flex the last syllable to a schwa. and they do it automatically. If the word literate is in their vocabularies, they'll do that automatically if they know how to flex to a schwa. Go to the next line. I'm sorry, the next slide. Now, most of the time, silent E comes at the end. So I now have added, do you see a silent E at the end? Because look at the words in the first column. Electric, kinetic, calendar. I have had 2 kids, when I've had them read electric, say, yeah, I see a silent E. I'll say, where's the silent E? Oh, it's right there, right after the L. So if we just teach them that silent E is most of the time at the end, in fact, it's almost always, the only times it's not at the end is not confusing for students. Compound words, makeshift, lakefront, timekeeper, lame brain, they don't have trouble if they know how to read words, single syllable words, with reading compound words. They just don't have trouble. And the other one is when you have a base or a root word that ends in a E, like time, and you add a suffix that starts with a consonant, now you have another silent E in the middle. These words are just not hard the way we teach. We teach reading the way we teach reading. So, but obviously I screwed up when the kids would say, oh yeah, I see a silent E in electric. So is it at the end? Go to the next one. And I think this is yours, Michael.
I thought you were going to do this one, but
Was I
okay.
going to do this one? Yeah, I have Michael.
Okay, sorry.
It's
I
okay,
lost
but I
my
can do it.
notes. Nope. Go. Yeah, would you go for it and then we'll do.
Yeah, I will. You guys, this is really simple. This is when are they together or apart? That question starts coming to mean something. This word is clairvoyant. Lots of people say to me, oh, that was clairvoyant. Well, nope, it's clairvoyant. And so how many vowels do you see? 1, 2, 3. And we teach them that Y is a vowel at the end of the word. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So or I guess we've taught them here that Y is can be a vowel. 5 words, 5 vowels. Are they together or apart? Well, now they're together and apart. So they go together and apart. Next one. Do you see a silent E at the end? No. Next one. How many syllables? 3 syllables, because when you have 2 vowel letters together, they're going to stay together in the syllable. O-Y, they've learned as a pattern. And then A and T, how many syllables? And they'll read clairvoyant. Chances are my 5th grader doesn't know this word. We're probably studying it because it's in some story. It's clairvoyant. Let's read it, read the whole word. Here's everybody what it means. Move on. Okay, go to the next one. Whole bunch of words open up. So just to let you know. And now, Michael, spelling multisyllable words. This is where we get into this.
Finally, we get to spelling.
It's 8 o'clock. Do we have to stop or can we show one more thing? Can we keep going?
Give us about.
Feel
Okay.
free.
Yeah,
Feel
we've
free
got
to
one
keep
more
going.
video that'll answer
Yeah.
some spelling questions. Okay, so this is a long time ago. Linda was giving a presentation. She had met 2 little boys that were having trouble reading, asked them if they would volunteer. They both agreed that they would volunteer if she needed help. She's on the spur of the moment, decides to teach Matt to see if he can spell a multisyllable word. She thinks she's got enough information, you'll see. But this is not a perfect teaching spelling lesson. Be aware that she did it, spur of the moment. And we'll talk about the difference that we would do if we were teaching it less spur of the moment after you watch the video.
Michael, this was 22 years ago.
Oh my gosh, no, we're not that old, Linda.
Hey, you want to try another one? Sure. Okay, I'm going to give you this one. Confederate. That was close, but you know what? That's because you say the word. How do you say the word? Confederate. Okay, so let's do it. Confederate. Okay, now say the word.
Confederate.
Okay, okay, tell me the syllable. What's the word we're dealing with? Indemnity was the first one. What was the second one? Was it indemnity or Confederate?
Confederate.
There you go. Okay.
Confederate.
Very, very good. You really broke that one down, okay? Now, in order to spell this, because you're not going to believe this, but I'm going to work with you to spell this. Think you can spell Confederate? Did you hear that? Okay. A lot of guessing there, right? You're not real sure, right? Okay. I'm gonna help. You guys want to see this? Do you want to see me teach him to spell Confederate? Okay. I think I can. I haven't got quite enough information, but I think I can. What's the first syllable?
Kun.
Let's talk about the sounds in kun. Kun. Now, how would you usually spell kun?
C-U-N.
That's how you usually would spell it. But guess what? We're going to... It could be an A. It could be an A, but it's an O. Okay? Now, that's often how we spell kun at the beginning of a word. So now, what's the syllable?
Kun.
And how do I spell it?
C-O-N.
What are the sounds?
Kun. Kun.
Good. Now, one of those doesn't sound like it should. Which sound isn't? Yeah, so we're going to just have to learn that one by heart. Okay? So that's kun. Our next syllable is fed. All right? Sounds?
Fed. Fed.
Good. How do I spell fed?
F-E-D.
Boy, you got that one. Okay. So, what's this one?
Kun. Fed.
How do I spell
E-R.
Okay, we're going to get an E and an R because I need another E. Let me get an E and an R. So that one's And I'm going to run out of room, aren't I? Okay, kun. Should we spell it E-R-E or E-R?
E-R.
E-R. That would be a good idea. I got that one wrong. Now, we've got the last one, ut.
U-T.
Okay, stretch the sounds.
Ut.
Ut. It should be U-T, but you're not going to believe this. It's A-T. I need a longer board. E. I need another E. Okay, so, now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to use this board, excuse me, because you're just not going to believe what you can do. Okay, so we got 4 syllables, right? What's this one?
Kun.
How do I spell it?
C-O-N.
And what are the sounds?
Ka.
And which one did I have to remember in that one?
O.
Oh, what's this?
Fed.
Good. And how do I spell that?
F-E-D.
How do I spell it?
E-R. Ut. A-T-E.
Good. Should I put a heart over that E? That's a pretty hard one, huh? Okay. So is everybody, when you want to take a picture of this map in your mind, any of those hard for you? Okay. Without looking over here, tell me what the syllables are.
Kun. Fed. It.
Okay, good. How do I spell this one?
A-T-E.
How do I spell this one?
F-E-D.
How do I spell this one?
E-R.
How do I spell this one?
C-O-N.
You are so good. Okay, now, tell me how I spell this one.
A-T-E.
Good. Can you spell it backwards?
E-T-A.
What's this one?
E-R.
How do I spell it backwards?
R-E.
Okay.
F-E-D.
Backwards?
D-E-F.
This one?
C-O-N-N-O-F.
Okay.
Or C.
Good. You got it. Now, Tina, I need you to check. Okay? We're going to spell this backwards. The whole word, Confederate. You ready?
E-T-A-R-E-D-E-F-N
front words. Okay.
CONFEDERATE.
Now write it. I'll tell you. I promise you. Good job. Now I'm going to take the felts down, and can you write it all as one word? I want to show you guys the whole process. Got an eraser right there? This is like, do you feel like this is a miracle? I mean, you did great, didn't you? You didn't know you were such a good speller, did you? And you are a good speller.
Michael, can I say something?
Yeah, please.
Okay. What I want to say, somebody asked, do dyslexic students ever struggle with the out of order or backwards? How I came up with this is I was reading a book by Nancy Bell of Linda Mood Bell, and she said in order to teach high frequency words, short ones, she often has the kids spell the word backwards as a part of a process. And I thought, Nancy Bell, I adore you, but you are nuts that my dyslexics can spell words backwards. But I'm going to try it because it's Nancy Bell who said it. So I went and tried it, and it was magic. And the reason it's magic is that dyslexic kids try to memorize the letters without thinking about the syllables. So when Matt first started teaching spelling Confederate, he just pulled some letters out of it. He just went, no, I'm going to pull the letters out. But when we tied the letters to the sounds and had him look at them. So if I'm teaching said, I would do, what are the sounds in said? Ed. What's the first sound? What's the last sound? They're spelled correctly. AI is not. I want you to look at that. Think about it. How do you spell this? How do you spell in ed? AI. Now they've got that cemented. Now what I'm doing, if I say spell that backwards, is I'm having them look at a visual picture of that word and relate it to the sounds. So we're forcing them to get a visual picture and think about the sounds at the same time. And it
And
is
Linda, the visual
magic.
picture's in their brain.
Yes, it's
they're
in
seeing
their
it in their
brain.
brain.
They're seeing it in their brain. If you look at almost anybody who's looking at a visual picture in their brain, they'll look up and to the left, or they'll at least look straight up or up and to the left, because they're trying to access that visual picture. And it's much easier to access if they can tie it to sounds. Much easier to access than what typical dyslexics do is I'm just going to throw out some letters. That's what I'm going to do. If I can't remember the letters, I'm just going to throw them out.
If we said to everybody, spell the sight word said, spell said backwards, you're gonna
Well, we don't
visualize
do it
the
quite
word.
that quickly.
No, but I'm just saying for these people
Yeah.
here,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you did it right now, you have to see it in your brain to think what the letters are, because you never spell it backwards. But it allows you to cement that image and then to access it. It's also a really cool thing for struggling readers to be able to do that, to spell onomatopoeia backwards. With a little bit of
And they
practice,
can.
and they can do it. And it
Because
really,
Matt didn't spell Confederate backwards. He spelled Confederate. Four
Yeah.
little teeny tiny nonsense words backwards. That's what he did. And
Yeah.
that's what we want them to be able to do, that frontwards also.
and
We are
and
out
that's
of
the key. Real quickly, that's the key to the spelling multisyllable words. It starts with, you spell by syllable. Even a good reader spells by
first
syllable.
you
You cannot
recognize the
remember
syllables.
14 letters in a row. You remember con, fed, ut. That's what
So
you
it
would
starts
spell.
with hearing the syllable, saying the word, hearing the syllables, then
Right.
spelling the syllables.
Then
Yeah.
spelling them.
And we have other
Just
stuff
real
that,
quickly, I'm just going to tell you that if you get the handouts, which they did post, I think, there's steps are on slides in there for you. You can pull them off the back of the handout. There's some words you can practice with your students. And thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you
yes, thank
both.
you.
Thank you both. This has really been a great evening. There's a lot of comments in the chat. This is really helpful. I'm going to try it with my class tomorrow. So I know that's what you want to hear, right?
Well, what I want you to
Absolutely.
know is if you look on your handout, one of the hand on the back, there's a list of different kinds of words, like 2-syllable words,
I don't have
3-syllable
them here.
words. Oh, you didn't pull them in? I don't have it either. I didn't print it out,
They're
but
in the handout, but they're
they're in the handout.
not in the slides.
And you can
Yeah.
actually just custom tailor your teaching by doing that. Start with 2 and 3-syllable words.
Excellent.
With Xavier, I knew he could do more, and we were trying to get as much into a 20-minute video as we could. So that's why I went to Continental, etc.
Well, you
Wouldn't
guys did a
usually do
great
that.
job of packing a lot of information into a short amount of time. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it, learned a lot. And we do this pretty much once a month in the evening. Our next one in November will be Tuesday, November 11th. We're talking about how kids at all grade levels can access grade level text, how to help them do that. I can see there's a question about where the handout is. We also have one, sorry, I'm scrolling through the chat. We have Teachers Lounge one Saturday every month, and that's coming up this month on the 25th of the month. So I'm just going to hunt for that.
Here it is.
Here it
let me
is, right
see.
here. Okay.
There's the
so
link.
you'll probably get it twice now. It's a Google file.
Yep.
Yep. Same. So you have that.
You got
and
there faster.
I've also posted, if you're one of those people that needs a certificate of attendance, I posted a link that you can fill out a form, and I'll get that form on my computer and I'll send you a certificate of attendance. So do that if that's something that you need. And with that, I think we'll just say thank you once more to Linda and Michael. It's been a great evening, and thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Great to see you, Deb.